Good afternoon. My name is Ileana Salazar, and today I'll be giving you a general overview of post-traumatic stress disorder. Please silence all cell phones and save your questions till the end. In 2009, U.S. Army service member PFC Ortiz deployed to Iraq and experienced a traumatic roadside bombing. Months after returning from Iraq, Ortiz had constant nightmares and was beginning to suffer from anxiety, depression, and severe paranoia. He was later diagnosed, because of these symptoms, with post-traumatic stress disorder. The United States Department of Veterans Affairs National Center for PTSD defines post-traumatic stress disorder as an anxiety disorder that can occur after you have been through a traumatic event. Upon hearing the words post-traumatic stress disorder, the first thing that comes to most minds is war. However, other traumatic events, including rape, childhood abuse, or natural disasters, can also trigger the disorder. Today I will give you a generalized overview of PTSD and how it affects soldiers and civilians, so that you may be able to recognize the symptoms and get the appropriate help if ever necessary. Let's start by discussing how each event plays its role in post-traumatic stress. Statistics show that oftentimes, in regards to physical and sexual abuse, women are more prone to suffer from PTSD than men. Intimate partner violence, or IPV, is a form of abuse that can oftentimes lead to PTSD in either sex. IPV occurs when a current or former partner uses behaviors or threatens that can make you feel scared, controlled, or intimidated. Physical violence, sexual violence, threats of physical or sexual abuse, psychological or emotional abuse, and stalking are all examples of different types of IPV. According to the National Center of PTSD, in 2010, 22 to 31% of American women report experiencing IPV at some point in their lives. Another stressor of PTSD is actually caused at an early age. Childhood abuse, if not treated, can cause long-term symptoms throughout adulthood. The Mosby Medical Encyclopedia in 1996 defined child abuse as a physical, sexual, or emotional mistreatment of a child. Child sexual abuse is one form of childhood abuse that is most commonly heard of. Researchers such as Dr. Bob Murray believe that childhood abuse or trauma may actually be the first of two stages that causes full-blown PTSD. Murray believes that the first stage of PTSD is childhood trauma, which leads to depression and anxiety, followed by the second stage, which is a greater traumatic event that triggers the actual PTSD. Natural disasters such as floods, hurricanes, fires, tsunamis, or tornadoes are another cause of PTSD year-round. Millions of lives were devastated due to Hurricane Katrina and its aftermath in August of 2005. Following the catastrophic event, 63% of Katrina survivors were diagnosed with PTSD. Although people can recover from most disasters, those with direct exposure and a weak support system may go through a worse recovery than those with a positive support system. PTSD doesn't have to control your life, however. Let's talk about some ways to attack this monster. Every victim, no matter what type of traumatic event they've experienced, now has great treatments available for PTSD. Talking with a therapist is one of the most common forms of initial treatment. Although it may be hard to mentally relive most horrifying events, talking to a medical professional about them may help start the healing process. One effective form of counseling is cognitive behavioral therapy, in which a therapist helps you understand your views and thoughts about the trauma and change the way you perceive them. Other forms of therapy are cognitive processing therapy and prolonged exposure therapy. Therapy, however, may also be used in conjunction with medication prescribed by a licensed physician. Although there are many medications that have been used with success, the effect of each medication differs between each person. Family therapy, group therapy, and brief psychodynamic psychotherapy are also other treatment options that can be explored. So let's review. PTSD is not a new disorder. Although most commonly associated with the military after combat, it has also become familiar within the civilian ranks. Whether it is a Category 5 hurricane, abuse as a child, sexual assault, or a soldier's traumatic experience, they may all lead to the same disorder. People suffering from PTSD may seem unscathed on the outside, but within there's a monster waiting to disrupt the calm, if not properly treated through counseling or medication. That concludes my speech. Thank you and have a great day.